Well, hello, collective. Happy Sunday. I hope you're having an amazing day and that you've got a lot of rest or time to do things that you love, or maybe even spend time with friends and family. So, hope you're having a good one. I am definitely excited for today's reading. It is going to be a bit of a shorter reading. Yesterday was a long one, and today is typically my day off, but I kind of fell behind this week. So, I'm playing catch up a little bit, but I will still get a reading in today. I think that I'll be putting out readings on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays from now on, just so that you're aware when to look. But, things can change from week to week, so that is my plan at least. I'm going to do my best to stick to that as we go forward. All right. So I've already pre-shuffled all my cards. I have called in my spirit team, spirit guides, and I'm pretty much ready to go. Now, just remember with any kind of reading to use your own discernment. If it resonates with you or you understand that to be clarification for your situation, or perhaps it's not resonating with you, take what's for you and use your discernment when you are obviously getting any kind of readings. Leave what does not belong to you that may belong to somebody else. Okay, all right. So, with my spiel said, what is the vibe in the collective today, Spirit? What's the vibe in the collective today? There we go. A couple. Ooh. Mm. Mm-hmm. Okay. So the first thing that we have here is heart opening, listening. It says opening your heart center and listening to your intuition will always lead you in the right direction. You now have the opportunity to let down the walls you created from the past wounds. Let your light shine from your heart to experience what the universe has always wanted for you. And then we have finally family dynamic, reconcile. Your family is requiring time to heal issues that have been created, or that have created a wedge or unrest. We all need support as we move forward, and having an open, loving family unit is essential. So, immediately, what I'm getting from this is that um, right now you are at a point where forgiveness is going to be really important. So, um, reconciling doesn't necessarily mean going back into environments that are going to be harmful. Okay. Now, if you've decided to keep certain people in your life, that's really up to you. This could refer to your own personal family. So this could be your children and you, but this can also be your immediate family that you were raised in, or it could be external family as well. Now, what I'm really getting from this is that you're being asked by Spirit right now to really, truly open your heart to the possibility of forgiveness and working on forgiving them, whether you are involved in their lives or not. And forgiveness does not mean tolerance, right? So forgiveness is really for you. So when you're forgiving other people, you're really lightening the burdens, removing the burdens from your own shoulders and allowing yourself to be free once and for all. So no longer carrying any hurt, any resentment, any anger, any lower vibration that may be projected onto situations, into new relationships, or projections towards family members. This could also be an ex, it could be all of the above. But really, you're being asked to listen to where that pain resides within you. What are the comments that you catch yourself saying out loud to other people about the situation? Are you still holding on to some pain somewhere? You're being asked right now to really inquire as to where you're feeling that, what emotions are coming up when you think about it, and not only that, but what it is that you are expressing outwardly when you refer to yourself, your life? Are you still carrying the old stories of the pain in the past? Spirit's really here to show you that your heart has the capacity to heal this. And right now, you're in a position where allowing yourself to reconcile your differences by maybe adopting a different viewpoint on the situation, understanding with compassion in the same way that you showed yourself compassion and you forgive yourself, and you're there for yourself, you nurture yourself, understanding that you too at some point were living in darkness. You too at some point were living in an unconscious state. And you had to go through your life, through this experience, forgiving yourself, being compassionate with yourself, being gentle with yourself, understanding that you made mistakes, that you possibly hurt other people as well, understanding where you were, where you came from, understanding how you may have projected that onto other people, and, again, possibly caused others pain in a likewise situation. So, really, it's about opening your heart enough to extend that compassion now out to those who have hurt you. And I'm picking up family, but again, this could be a friend, this could be family, this could be an ex, and it could be all of the above for you. Take it as it resonates for you. But you're being asked to extend that same love, compassion, and understanding that just because people haven't woken up does not mean that they shouldn't be afforded the same level of compassion and understanding for where they are on their path right now, that you gave yourself. And this is the place where you're at right now is the point where now it is time to reconcile that within yourself. It has nothing to do with the other person. You don't have to go up to the other person and say, I forgive you. This is all about what you're carrying inside still, and your ability um, to extend that compassion and love outwardly to others, despite whether they choose to get on the path in this lifetime or not, is what's going to create this heart opening. You're being asked to really consider what emotions you're still holding on to, and whether or not that is self-loving to hold on to that any longer, because there is some aspect here that is preventing you from moving forward at this point, is what I'm hearing. So holding on to these emotions is preventing your heart from fully opening, and you have the opportunity right now to allow that to happen. So I'll show you the cards. Sometimes I forget. Yeah, so this could just be an energetic thing. Well, it's all energy, really. Let's be honest. But energetically, there's a block, is what I'm hearing from spirit right now. There is a block, and it's time to move through that block, dissolve that block, right? By, yeah, again, I just keep hearing the same thing, like by assessing what you're holding on to, and then seeing where, for some of you, this will be more applicable than others because it might be harder for you to find that emotion, right? But seeing what you're holding on to, and then going back and seeing how it is that you dealt with that within yourself. And possibly there are aspects energetically that need to be released, with self forgiveness too, because if we're blocking ourselves from being happy, then that in turn also turns to a form of resentment, but towards ourselves, right? So, whatever we're feeling towards others, we're also feeling towards us. So, there are two aspects that need to be looked at here. And energetically, once these are released and your heart has the ability to fully open, then that's what creates the momentum for everything else to come in, right? So, Yesterday's reading was a lot about, there's things that are lined up waiting for you, but I'm getting a feeling like this is part of the blockage that is still being left to or needing to be dealt with at this time before all of that can move on, because that had a lot to do with family as well, and things going on, which could make a person feel a certain way about that, right? If somebody's trying to steal from you, or they're still continuing to act in a lower vibrational state, or unconsciously, um, and that could result in some hurt, some pain, or even confusion or anger or bitterness. And so there are aspects that you're being asked to reconcile within yourself, because ultimately when we let that go and we decide that we want to instead free up that energy to put into our own creations and to our own manifestations, and we consciously choose to be happy and consciously choose to forgive. And especially when anytime this like old programming, maybe negative thoughts, negative emotions come up around that, to really nurture that inner child and then change the programming in your mind to let it go, right? Because it does take work. You can't just consciously say, I choose to forgive, right? You have to catch yourself in the moments where you're still holding on to it. And then you have to work with yourself to reprogram that every time it comes up. Or you have to put your attention and focus into the things that do bring you joy as well, right? It's not just a one and done kind of thing. So making the conscious choice means that you recognize when it comes up, and then you consciously choose to change that pattern as well, because it's not all energy. It's not all um, like mental gymnastics. It's really, you need to retrain your thoughts. You need to retrain the way that you perceive the situation, the way that you perceive humanity as a whole, not just you in the situation. Retrain yourself not to be just the victim, or just the survivor, or removing labels from people. That's something I've learned more recently, is removing labels, because these labels, from what I discovered, keep people boxed into bad or good. And so it's really hard to see the humanity in everyone, and to um, relate unconscious states that we were once in to other people's states who may have caused us harm, which would prevent us from actually forgiving them and letting go. So, what I learned recently was to remove those labels, and just to see everybody as equals, as not good or bad, but doing the best that they can with the tools that they have to survive on Earth. And that doesn't mean that we allow people into our lives again who are going to hurt us. We being, in this position means that we understand what self-love is, and we no longer tolerate that kind of behavior, but that does not mean we cannot forgive what has happened, or forgive the people who are still unconscious and living in survival in the same way that we once were. So hopefully that helps. Ooh, 14 minutes in, we've only got two cards. All right, Spirit, what else can you tell us about the vibe in the collective right now? What else can you tell us about the vibe in the collective, please, Spirit? Hmm, thank you. Huh, that's funny. What else can you tell us about the vibe? And we got high vibrations. Transformation. You have chosen to step into a higher vibration that is in alignment with your new soul path and higher knowing. You now have the awareness that you are limitless and ready for transformation. All right. Then we have past life karma cycles. This indicates a past life, or this indicates a past life is the reason why the intense energy surrounds you. The person or situation. Oh, you, the person or situation. Look into ways to clear past life karma and see the bigger picture of the situations by viewing it from a lesson perspective. Taking ownership for your part and forgiveness are keys in releasing past life karma. And that's it. Like yesterday's reading really hit the nail on the head with regards to going through a massive transformation. The collective has been assigned their positions. So many of us in the collective have already received a position. And what I refer to that is you've been crowned, but there is something that needs to be taken care of. And one aspect is, you're getting lined up to receive your divine inheritance. If you haven't seen that message, yesterday's message, then go and check that out, posted Saturday. Um, but in turn, there are things that are happening in order to align that. And it may look like loss, it may look like stagnation, it may look like blockages, but really these are all indicators that something massive is about to happen. And so today's reading is really tying into that message from yesterday about um, the transformation process and what today Spirit is trying to convey is that there is this dynamic of forgiveness needing to be closed off, this cycle. This is going to be very important to your transformation because Spirit needs to ensure that you are strong enough to hold the position that you have been anointed with or assigned by the divine, right? So obviously it makes sense that, this cycle of um, pain and maybe struggle and an arduous life and, lots of ups and downs and maybe really toxic cycles, period, or people would be a past life cycle, right? Karma that we're needing to work through and learn the lessons from. And part of that in unification, in order to step into this transformation to align with that fully, um, fully align with our highest self, in order to do that, we need to work through our karma. And so these are kind of some of the last strands of this cycle that you've been in for however long you've been in it. For some of you, it could be half your life or three-quarters of your life. For some of you, this could be a 7-year cycle or a 14-year cycle, right? For some of you, this may just be something that you've experienced over the last year, but I'm getting strongly because these are karmic cycles that there has been repetition for a very long time, either on your end of holding on to things that aren't going to serve you, which, then you move on into new friendships or relationships and you carry that with you. And then ultimately, what happens is that energy and the pain that you are emitting. Um, changes the dynamic of whatever relationship you're in, which is why a lot of them start off feeling happy or good or positive, and then eventually transform into the same dynamic that you've experienced over and over and over again, likely stemming from your childhood experiences, right? So, yeah, you know, I mean, we can't really state it any clearer other than forgiveness, right? Releasing the past means forgiving, and this sets you up to receive possibly your kingdom spouse or a high level soulmate or your soul tribe. your soul tribe family. And those are people who are going to get you because they're like you. They've done the healing work, they've taken the hero's journey, they have been working on their own ascension process and their cycles of karma, and they have been working through all of their own things and forgiving themselves and forgiving others. And so we're all as a collective working on this together. But it's clear to me that in order to move forward, their spirit is really asking us to check it out. That's what I just heard, to check it out. And I also heard stop being afraid. So some of you have been afraid to look at this. Some of you have been distracting yourselves a lot so that you don't have to look at this or make excuses from what I'm hearing. So that you don't have to deal with this because it's been a long journey. It's been a long road up until this point, and you just want to be done with it. And Spirit acknowledges that, they understand that. But avoiding it is just going to, and suppressing it is just going to make it fester and bubble to the surface, and it's going to, and they're using the word infect. It's going to infect all aspects of your life going forward. And this is not what they want for you. They want you to finally be free and liberated. And for some, I'm hearing this ties into health issues as well, because you're holding on to this anger and this resentment. What you'll find is when you do finally forgive the people from your past who you are still holding this resentment or anger or emotion for, that your health issues are going to disappear and that your health is going to balance out naturally. That could even just be your skin, it could be your hair, it could be serious health issues. There's a lot that's going to be worked out by letting this go because, again, we store all these emotions in our body as memories. And unless we release them by working on it, and by changing our perspective on the situation and on these people, and finding the lessons within these experiences and being grateful for them, then we keep all that stored. So, for some of you, somatic therapy or somatic movements may be really helpful while you're still dealing with these last little bits to help that energy move out of your body. If you do Reiki or you do any kind of energy work or you know anybody who does, that can also help. So, that would look like, you go in and you do whatever forgiveness practice or exercise works best for you, or what your spirit guides guide you to do, or your intuition. And then maybe before you do that, you set up an appointment for some energy work or a Reiki session to help clear it out after any stagnant residual energy, to kind of just work on where you're feeling that in the body, where it's stored, where it hurts, right? And to do the work on a psychological and emotional level, but then on a physical level to somehow find a way to release that as well. Now, you don't have to, if you don't have the funds or anything like that, you don't have to go and pay somebody to do that. You can go on YouTube and you can look for somatic movements or somatic dance. All kinds of different things on there that you can use for free tools that you can use to move that energy out of your own body, right? So, yeah, that's what we're going to say about that. Okay, Spirit, which deck do you want me to use next? Starseed, I'm here. Okay. Is there anything that will help the collective in the forgiveness process? Okay, so we have the courageous peony, multifaceted, unique nature, let yourself be seen. Big picture thinking, Pleiades energy, visionary, inspired ideas. So, what I'm getting from this card right here is that the courage to be seen and heard and to be your authentic self comes from having the courage to look at this pain from an honest perspective. Um, because again, when we are zoomed right into the issue, and this card too, big picture thinking, when we are zoomed right into, you know, the pain or whatever we're holding on to, the hurt, then we're missing the opportunity to actually be our authentic selves, to explore it from lesson, right? Rather than that, we end up feeling the pain as kind of like the first person in the situation, right? So if you were to read it like a book, you would be the one in first person constantly, in pain, experiencing everything, being narrated in first person, and what you're being asked to do instead is to look at the bigger picture here by zooming way out. And I don't know if this is helpful, but Spirit's asking me to um, iterate this to you. So what I'm seeing is that here's you, right? And everything in your world is rotating around you. So all of your thoughts, all of your emotions, all of your experiences, anything that you're holding on to that still needs to be cleared, it's all in your own personal vortex. And everything that you think and say and do and the energy that you're emitting is filling your vortex, which is what is attracting everything into your life, right? So what they're asking you to do is to zoom out of me, and I, first person, and to then extend that to your immediate family and to your, like if you're separated with an ex or you're going through a divorce or you've left somebody, to them, if this is recent, in the last year or two, or whatever it is, whoever you still have this pain towards, extend it outwards to your family, to that person, and then extend, once you have the bigger picture there, to understand the patterns of what they've gone through, which has shaped them into the people that they are, which is what affected you, right? Once you understand where they came from, their roots, and all of the patterns and the behaviors on all sides, then you're going to extend that circle even further, and you're going to look at your extended family, like your aunts and uncles and your grandparents, and what did they experience? And maybe you want to do it separate if you do have an ex or somebody like that. And you want to do the same with them, though. Like how can you extend the same understanding and compassion that you have to yourself? Again, the same level of forgiveness to them. Well, it's by seeing the bigger picture, right? By expanding your view and understanding humanity on a different level as a whole, that we're all walking this path together, but many people are unconscious. And so, can we hold it against them for their patterns and their conditions, you know, even though they've hurt us? Can we hold it against them? Will that be beneficial for us, or is it more beneficial to look at the broader picture and see how, for time and time and eternity, this has been happening, not just generationally within our own families, but generationally within possibly our ex's families or our friends' families, and then having that broader perspective of understanding, okay, well, I hold space and love for these extended people in my family and for myself. So what is preventing me from allowing myself to extend that outwardly, right? And this is allowing yourself the courage to now release the attachment to just your identity. right? By seeing everyone else's identity in the same way, and holding space for the possibility for them to heal and transform, this allows for your authentic self to really start coming forward. But it does take seeing things in a bigger picture and understanding that by you walking away and you healing yourself, you are also not only healing yourself, but you are healing generational patterns of whatever it is that you've experienced. You are healing your ancestors on the other side, too. My ancestors really wanted to make that clear. You are actually liberating them so that when they come through in a future lifetime, by you choosing to do this work, you are liberating them so that they no longer have to be confined within these karmic cycles, these generational patterns and cycles in their next lifetime. So you are not just freeing yourself by doing this work, you are freeing all those who came before you who enacted these patterns and we're all the way down to the root to where they started. And not only are you doing that for your lineage, but you are providing the same love and lessons to whomever else is not related to you. You're providing them with the ability to take the same path. So you're opening up opportunities for all those you love and all those who have caused you pain to get on the same path for healing. And so it's really important for us to look at the bigger picture. As we ascend, we do not ascend for just ourselves. Yes, that part is important to come back to ourselves, to love ourselves. But in that love, we also need to learn how to hold space for other people's healing and the potential that they have. And again, that does not mean that you let these people into your life. That is self loving. That is wisdom with experience and forgiveness put together. You understand now what love is. And so that means not allowing people who are unhealed back into your life. But on an energetic level and an emotional level, we also need to learn to liberate ourselves by looking at this bigger picture and seeing the humanity in each and every single person. Understanding that there is ultimately no wrong or right in Source's eyes. We may feel wronged and it may have hurt us. Absolutely. Nobody is denying your pain. Nobody is denying your experience. But you're denying yourself the growth by not allowing yourself to evolve, by not letting go. So that's going to be something that you ultimately have to make the choice on. Holding on to these things makes people sick and it prevents us from being fully aligned with our highest vibrational self. Okay, Spirit, do you have any advice that you would like to give the collective? Thank you. Mm, okay. So loosen your grip. Coping mechanisms, destiny, addiction, let God in. Okay, so from what I'm getting, that I was saying that earlier, so thank you for the confirmation. Uh, some of you are really using coping mechanisms to avoid the pain, to avoid the feelings, to avoid going inwards and dealing with this last thread to these people or person. And so that could be not just coping mechanisms, but it could be avoidance tactics. It could be addictions. It could be a lot of things. And you're being asked to turn the dial down is what I'm seeing. Turn down the dial on all of those things that are causing you distractions or allowing you to not be connected to your heart in a in its full capacity because you're ready to have your heart essentially cracked open so that you can hold this higher vibration and take your position in this life, right? And so it's going to be really important to understand what coping mechanisms you're using currently in order to avoid this or to not be alone or to not listen to your inner self or to not feel it. What are you doing or using throughout your day which is keeping you away from you? So, your advice is to let go of any preconceived notion that you're not capable of facing this and of forgiving and allow or ask spirit. I mean, let God in really represents like asking if you feel stuck and you don't know how to forgive, or you don't know where the root of that anger still lies, or um, you don't have clarity, right? Or maybe you're waiting for an apology, but maybe you know there's no apology coming. So how can you move forward in your life and find acceptance for that? Really asking your spirit team or source, God, whomever you call your creator, to really help you with the forgiveness process. If you're into praying, maybe pray to forgive, for the assistance to forgive those who have hurt you, to let go of the pain, to let go of whatever is on that you're still holding on to so tightly, because it's loosening your grip, right? We're really holding on to something that is no longer serving us. And part of this bigger picture thinking is to really see how that's actually affecting us, to not numb out with distractions or coping mechanisms or addictions, but to really take the time to assess how this is such a disservice to us and how unkind it can be towards us, or possibly even unloving towards us to hold on to this any longer. So yeah, be aware that that's something, again, I did pick up in the beginning that a lot of us in the collective, many people are using different strategies or coping mechanisms or even addictions to um, avoid whatever is left here. And you're really being asked to look deeper at it and to accept where you are currently, to accept whatever emotions come up as soon as you stop distracting, and to just feel into them, just allow them to come up. They will rise. And so long as you don't try to suppress it, they will fall once more. And that's when you go in and you nurture yourself and you tell yourself it's going to be okay and that you're proud of yourself for doing that. And maybe you need to journal out whatever comes to mind afterwards and then do a forgiveness exercise. You know, it's each individual has their own way of doing things. And if you're stuck, if you're not sure, call God in, call your spirit team in, call your holy ancestors in. They want to help you with this. And they are waiting for you to stop distracting yourself and ask for their help. So you may as well. All right, so we're at the 39-minute mark. So as I said, I was going to keep this short. So that's what I'll do. Okay, Spirit, is there another deck that you want to close this session off with? Okay. I'm hearing the Star Codes Astro Oracle. Now, This is a new deck for me. I'm not overly familiar with it, so I will be reading out of the guidebook today for you. What message would you like to give the collective to close out this session, please? Well, I'm hearing that was too many cards, Spirit. I'm hearing please be compassionate and kind to yourself. This has been a long journey for you, and the journey to closing off the cycle is nearly complete. So be compassionate with yourself, even as things come up, and you start letting go of the other things. Be very self-loving and gentle with yourself. Because for some people, I'm picking up, if these are addictions, there's withdrawal, right? And addictions don't just have to be substances or foods or things you put in your body. It could be to all kinds of things. It could be social media. Can we just get one card, please, Spirit? What message would you like to share with the collective to close? Whoa, I'm just getting too many cards here. Here, maybe I'll stand up and do this. Might help a little bit. One card, please, Spirit, for the collective. What was the final message? There we go. Okay. So we have Midhaven Pinnacle. Nice card. Well, let me read it. The Midhaven contains clues about how your family trained you to be visible in the world, your relationship to other people's authority, and how you step into your own personal authority. It describes the future mountaintop, the pinnacle of your work in the world. The midhaven is the highest point of the chart, where the sun would be at midday. Where the sun would be at midday. This most public visible point of the chart acts like the flagpole on top of your personal castle. Action. Inventory your personal reputation and ask what you can do to strengthen it. Update your website. Look at your definition of success and make sure it is your own. Make sure it is your own. Actually makes you happy and I can't read today. Actually makes you happy and is not one you have inherited from your family or mentors. Think about the training you've received from these authorities and notice where it still serves you and where you need to release their preconceptions and step into something bigger. You may need to go back to hidden dreams or reawaken an ambition that may not make sense to anyone else. If you choose not to seek your sense of accomplishment as reflected in the outside world, your midhaven can speak of a quieter sense of personal authority. This is your life. Define the mentorship or define the mountaintop for yourself. Take a next step in the direction. Challenge. Traditions, other people's expectations, or your family history may be complementary to your idea of your own potential, or they may be hurdles to overcome as you find your true path. Gift. Underneath all worldly sense of ambition is a soul's longing to live out its potential. Listen to the call. So that's very much in line with this karmic healing, healing all of the familial patterns and thoughts and all of the conditioning and programming we've received and letting go of that, deciding what's going to be best for you. And sometimes not fighting any longer with these people, not fighting with yourself, right? Because that can look like I'm holding on to past resentments and now I'm arguing with myself in my head. don't do that. It's time to really examine those things and to let it go and to take, just like a reading, take what serves you and leave the rest. Throw it in the garbage. You're not forced as a sovereign being to take on anybody else's position in the world or anybody else's viewpoint in the world. You get to decide, and that's why you've done all this work, right? That's why you are on this path right now. It's because you have been doing the work to clear that. And so there is a little more clearing to do here. And a lot of it is to do with familial patterns, familial conditioning, maybe even familial trauma. So that is your reading for today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day. Um, if you enjoyed this reading, please give it a thumbs up. I do appreciate it. It does help the algorithm. If you would like to leave a comment, feel free to. It does help me to channel in more specifically to your energy so you can get more specified messages that are directed towards you. You are not obligated. If you don't feel comfortable, that is totally cool too. And if you're new here, feel free to subscribe, join our beautiful community of light, and I will see you on Tuesday. Have a great day. Bye.